Okay, hello everyone, Mr. K here again. Here to talk about MSDS. And if you're in class, first thing I'd ask you is what does MSDS stand for? And if you're awake, hopefully you say material safety data sheets, even if you don't know what that means because you see the guy holding the book that says material safety data sheets. But in all seriousness, this is something that it's probably not as critical for, the one-man, two-man shop operation. But again, I tell you guys, not everyone that goes through my class is going to end up working at an auto shop, working at a dealer. There's just not enough dealers, and statistically speaking, not everyone's going to do that. Most of you guys are going to end up working in a factory, working a desk job, might be supervisors, managers, that type of thing. And there you will use this. You'll use MSDS a lot more. So that's why we're talking about it. It's also something that's pushed throughout industry, different areas of industry, which I think I may have another slide that, I think I may have another slide that actually shows this. But I mean, MSDS books, or MSDS, I should say, material safety data sheets were pushed when I was in college. At our college, they were pushed in when I worked at Chrysler, GE, just everywhere. It's a big thing at airports, at schools, you name it. So it's something you're going to see over and over again. So you might as well learn it now. They're not real hard. They're actually something you want to know because it can help you know what to do in case you end up in a bad situation where you get exposed to a chemical that you didn't plan on getting exposed to, and then it'll help you know what to do. Whether you need to go to the hospital, should you drink a bunch of water? Should you not drink any water? Should you flush your eyes with water? Should you go straight to ER? That type of thing. These will help you out big time with that. All right. I just threw a common example up here. And again, this PowerPoint's pretty short. I think it's only 9 slides because I know there's only so much you can talk about on these topics, but also there's only so much that really applies to us that we need to know. So just kind of bear with me. But there's a WD-40, just the first part of the first page of a WD-40 safety data sheet. As you can see, it just starts talking to you about the basics about the company, what product it's about. Then it'll start talking about how flammable is it, how toxic is it, does it cause cancer, that type of thing. There's one for Windex, okay. Also, you may say, well, geez, I work at Kroger as a stock guy or stock girl, or I've worked at McDonald's or this or that. I don't remember any training about MSDS or hearing about it. Well, businesses per OSHA, businesses or schools, whatever it may be, are not required to have the safety data sheets on hand if it's a chemical that you are expected to use just as a normal consumer would. So if I give you a bottle of Windex and say, go clean every window in the school, because that's part of your job, you need to have access to a safety data sheet, and I need to give you access to that and make it available, readily available. But if I say, hey, here's a bottle of Windex in case you'd care to clean the window by your desk and only your desk, then I don't need to give you a safety data sheet access because you're just using it in a method that a consumer would use it. So hopefully that makes sense. So again, I put the painter in there because the guy that paints every day, works with those chemicals, that's his job. He's going to need access to that stuff. On the MSDS, I would argue this is probably the most important part of it, even though it's a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 page document. Usually this little symbol, in my opinion, is probably the most important part. It's a real quick reference on how dangerous this product is. The lower the number, generally speaking, the safer it is. So if you see zeros in these 3 triangles, then that's probably a pretty darn safe product. Bottom one's kind of an oddball. That's kind of, we're not going to get into that too much. I don't see that a whole lot with automotive stuff, but these 3 we're going to get into a little more detail. Oh yeah, NFPA, that's the NFPA triad, I think it's called, or NFPA symbol, and basically that's the National Fire Protection Association that kind of governs that, has made that symbol up. Okay. First one I want to go over is the red, flashpoint. those of you who don't know what flash point is, I put a definition up here from a website. I think it's pretty good. Flash point involved in materials the lowest temperature needed to evaporate enough fluid to form a, okay, it sounds kind of chemistry-ish. So for those of you that aren't chemistry fans, just know that the flash point, I guess the way I'd explain it is the flash point is when you just barely get a liquid hot enough, if it's flammable, just barely hot enough to where it starts evaporating. It starts evaporating enough to where the vapors could light on fire. You may not know this, gasoline doesn't burn. Liquid gasoline does not burn. The gasoline that you pump into the tank in your car doesn't burn. It's the vapor that gasoline creates. When that gas turns into vapor, it's the vapor that burns, okay? So if you dump gas out on a floor of a shop and you light a match and throw it at the gasoline, it's gonna light on fire unless it's below negative 45 degrees F in your shop. But it's probably gonna light on fire for most of you. You're not seeing the liquid burn. You are seeing the vapor that's hovering just above the liquid burn. Okay, that's chemistry, physics stuff. That's simple fact. So the flash point is that temperature. Okay, you can see a flash point of gasoline is negative 45 F. So if it's negative 46 F, that gasoline is not going to burn. You can throw a match on it. It gets more complex if you start heating it up with a flame. You're going to get a small portion of it hot enough to burn, and then it will. But just for reference purposes, if it's below negative 45, it's not going to burn. Okay, you can see I've got some flash points, some other liquids up here, kind of interesting to look at. Diesel fuel 125F, that should be a good clue as to why diesels have to have glow plugs and why in the wintertime you need to fire those up so that diesel will light off. Propane, negative 156F. Pretty good, right? Propane should be great in low temperatures, great to burn. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like you to pause the video and either type in this URL or search no more risk low flash point liquids. There's a great video on flash point. Go ahead and pause the video and do that at this time. Okay, you should have just watched that video on flash point. Hopefully one thing you got out of that is that when he was pouring the liquid, or I should say when he was lighting liquid on fire at one point in the video, he actually didn't even bring the flame within probably an inch of the liquid. Notice I kind of caught you there. He didn't light the liquid on fire. He hovered it about an inch above the liquid and it caught the vapor on fire and then it was burning. So something to just keep in mind. Kind of a good demonstration of it, of what I was just talking about. Okay, flash point of gasoline. This is a neat paragraph that I copied and pasted through in here. Fumes are capable of ignition up to 12 feet away. Okay, because fumes can float on water, they can spread long distances. It means I can spill gas on one side of the shop and then I can light a match on the other side of the shop and it could light that gasoline on fire. It could travel through the air all the way back. 15,000 degree fireball. Interesting, right? Okay, here's MSDS, part of an MSDS sheet for gasoline. There's your NFPA square or diamond, whatever you want to call it. And look at that, 0, not bad at all, right? Nothing, instability, it's very stable. Okay, it's not gonna just detonate on its own with no point of ignition. 1, so it's not terribly unhealthy, okay, slightly hazardous. Yeah, you probably don't wanna drink it, probably don't wanna take a bath in it, but you know, you get a little on your hands, probably not the end of the world. But a 3 on flammability, pretty bad, okay? Flash point, below 100 degrees, okay? Okay, let's talk about, we talked about flash points, talk about health hazard. This one's gonna be mostly common sense. If it sounds like something you probably shouldn't drink or shouldn't get on your skin, then you probably shouldn't get it on your skin and it's probably got a high number for health hazard. Nope, it's got a 3, or sorry, antifreeze, MSDS has a 2 for health hazard. So they call it not slightly hazardous, but hazardous, which kind of cracks me up. A lot of people would probably say that gasoline's more dangerous than antifreeze to get on your skin, but that's not the way they're classifying it. Of course, this is an overall rating. It's not just topical on your skin if you drink it as well. But anyway, just interesting to note. So 2, fire hazard 1. or I'm sorry, flammability 1. So flash point above 200 degrees. Look at all the stuff they want you to wear though when you're working with antifreeze. Safety glasses, chemical gloves, respirator, lab coat. I've never seen someone wear a respirator when working with antifreeze. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but I've just never seen it. Acetone's pretty nasty stuff. Another word for acetone is nail polish remover. There you go. Go in your mom, sister's, whatever cabinet, find some nail polish remover. You're probably looking at mostly acetone. Okay, it's a 3 on flammability. Flash point below 100 degrees F. Again, very flammable. Okay, low flash point. Pretty bad for you too. It's a 2, but again, a 0 on instability. It's pretty stable. Look at all the things they want you to have ready. Notice there's no respirator on here. They want you to have breathing apparatus. They want you to actually have fresh air when you work with acetone. Wow, who knew? Sulfuric acid, that's nasty. Whoo, number 3, they call that extreme danger on the health hazard scale. What's another name for sulfuric acid? How about battery acid? You guys have it. All your cars. All right, let's transition and talk about instability. So we're looking at the diamond here. Finally down to our last one, we're gonna talk about yellow, instability. We're not gonna get much of this stuff in the automotive world. And if there is some of it in the automotive world, I'm not aware of it, but I don't think I've ever seen anything but a 0 on this for automotive chemicals. Anyway, this is talking about dynamite would probably be, I'm going to guess, a 3, because if you use a shock cord with dynamite, you can detonate it. Acetylene, an oxyacetylene tank. Acetylene's actually pretty unstable. It's a 3. See it right over here. Okay, acetylene is very dangerous and becomes unstable above a certain temperature. Okay. By the way, that's why you never turn a welding regulator above, I believe it's 15 psi for acetylene. It becomes unstable and can ignite on its own. Okay. Let's look at some examples here. I'm just going to lay them all out, and then I'm going to pause the recording, and I'm going to open them on a different tab, and we'll start the recording back up again. Okay. We're going to look at some MSDSs for motor oil, gasoline, acetone, and water. So at this point, I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, we've resumed the recording again, and we jump back to these. Motor oil, we all know motor oil, right? That's a pretty standard thing we all should have worked with by now. Let's throw that one up here. Okay, Pennzoil 530 sounds pretty common, right? Let's take a look at the MSDS. Notice up here at the top, it just kind of gives you a rough idea what it is. MSDS number. Okay, you can look it up that way too. Their manufacturer, their phone number. What happens if you spill it and you need to know information right away? How about health information? How about you take a drink a cup of motor oil when you thought it was coffee? You call that number. They can tell you all about what to do. Well, let's take a look. Some of this might surprise you here. Look at this, environmental hazards, not classified as dangerous for the environment. Wow, that was a shocker to me, I know that. Okay, let's see. Ingestion, low toxicity if swallowed. Really? Motor oil? Used oil may contain harmful impurities. Yep, very true, very true. Okay. Following organ systems may be aggravated by exposure to this material. Skin, not classified as dangerous to the environment. That blew me away. I never would have guessed. I never would have thought I'd see that on motor oil. All right. Let's jump to a different one. Notice it just keeps going. PPE talks about respiratory equipment you should wear, eye protection. Oh, talks about auto ignition temperature, flash point. Remember what that is, right? Look at that, 446 F. Pretty cool. Okay, you can see it just goes through everything you ever want to know about motor oil and much, much more. Ends up being a 9-page document. Okay. Okay. Gasoline. Let's look at this one real quick. Extremely flammable. Okay, there's some more warnings up here. Long-term exposure, effects to organs such as liver, kidneys, blood, nervous system, blood disease, anemia, leukemia. Holy cow, gasoline's much worse than oil, isn't it? Okay, and again, it just talks about what to do if you swallow, what to do if you're exposed to it, how you need to handle it, what to do if it catches on fire. Just keeps going and going and going. Okay, I think you guys are getting the idea here. Acetone's a nasty one. For those of you who don't know, I know we talked a little bit about it, but again, targets your central nervous system, respiratory system, can cause you to go into a coma. Read through that one sometime if you're a big acetone user. This may be the funniest thing I've seen all day. There's an MSDS for water. Okay. Target organs, none. I hope it doesn't hurt any organs. Not irritating to the eyes, not irritating to the skin. No hazard, no hazard. Oh my gosh, I hope there isn't. But apparently your physician is supposed to treat it symptomatically and supportively. It won't burn. Notice all zeros. Okay. But let's see here. Eye protection normally not required. Garments normally not required. Okay, about what you'd expect out of water, right? Okay, at this point it concludes the lesson on MSDS, and you can go ahead and complete your assignment on it. Have a good day.